the news of Nassau and Suffolk County's Long Island News Tonight with Ken Eckhart, Carol Peck, and the award-winning LI News team.
Good evening. I'm Chris Calora, sitting in for Ken Eckhart with this special edition of LI News Tonight. The Federal Aviation Administration says you have to be at least 17 years old to get your private pilot's license. But tonight we'll meet some young aviators who believe you don't have to wait that long to set your sights that high. This is a view of Long Island most of us don't get to see every day. But at least once a month, aspiring pilots as young as 12 can get a great flying opportunity thanks to the Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program.
The Civil Air Patrol is the auxiliary of the United States Air Force, and we have three main functions, one part of which is cadet orientation flying, to give the cadets an opportunity to get their first airplane ride.
Because of their association with the Air Force, Civil Air Patrol members sport the same uniforms and have similar grade structure. But at the local level, they are all civilian volunteers who don't earn a dime for their work. Most say they are there out of a shared love of aviation.
Guys?
Membership is open to anyone over age 12. Those over 18 are called senior members and come from all walks of life. Younger members from 12 to 18 are called cadets. Throughout Long Island, there are different chapters called squadrons. CAP is a nationwide, year-round organization. For the young cadets, the program is similar to youth groups like Scouting, but is actually a part of the Air Force. Some, like Major Kelly, who is cadet commander of Suffolk Cadet Squadron 10, were once cadet members themselves.
Some nice pilot gave me my first airplane ride when I was a cadet in the Civil Air Patrol at Azans Airport. And it was phenomenal. It just hooked me on flying, and from that day forward, I wanted to be a pilot. So now you know what upwind is, crosswind, downwind, base, and fine.
Now a cadet orientation instructor, Kelly and other Civil Air Patrol pilots mentor cadets on flying these CAP planes, Cessna 172 Skyhawks. CAP's Long Island headquarters is based here at MacArthur Airport in Ronkonkoma.
Fuel. We want to look for a blue color. You know what kind of fuel this is supposed to be?
17-year-old Stefania Lapiana from Farmingville is one of about 70 cadets in Squadron 10. She just landed after her first ride in the backseat of a CAP plane.
It was pretty cool. I liked it. I just like the feeling when you're up there flying and, you know, you're away from everybody, and it's just nice, like, seeing everything below you and getting the feel of, like, where you live and everything.
In a little while, we'll ride along with Stefania on her first flight in the co-pilot seat. But first, we'll meet a few of these young Long Island aviators and hear what motivates them to reach for the sky.
Woo! Rock and roll! Here's our chance. It's a big one, Goof.
I guess I saw Top Gun too many times, but just the whole kind of attitude of being a pilot, I guess, and flying and, you know, being way above everything.
The 1986 movie Top Gun focused on some young military pilots who loved the thrill of flying.
I feel the need for speed.
That's a feeling 17-year-old Joseph Thiemann from Medford can relate to.
Just a blast. You get up to altitude, you know, looks like a bunch of Matchbox cars running around.
Show me going up. Right, show me going down, left, and right. Yeah, you got it. Okay, that's it.
Karishma Pedigrahi from Sayville is 12 years old. She just got back from her first flight.
It was a lot of fun just being up in the air and the whole atmosphere of it. It was just really beautiful going over the Long Island Sound and everything. I was looking at over Long Island.
This is the horizontal stabilizer. This is the elevator.
17-year-old Matt Evko from Coram says he's thinking of going into the military as a pilot himself.
It was a little intimidating, I guess, at first. There was a lot of controls and everything like that. I didn't really know what went on up front. And once we got up there, though, it was really relaxing. I enjoyed the whole atmosphere of it.
Your airspeed indicator. This is your attitude indicator. It tells you when you're banking, climbing.
Mary Leah from Brentwood is 12 years old.
My first flight was kind of nervous-wracking, actually. I was too short to see over the dashboard, so it was kind of hard. I thought it was pretty cool to learn how to fly planes and actually get to learn about the flight, so that's pretty interesting.
Yearly membership dues for cadets are about $40, but they say that's a great bargain because the flying is free with their parents' permission. Typically, to rent a similar plane and hire an instructor to learn to fly privately would cost about an average of $150 per hour. But for these young cadets, the Air Force picks up the cost. That's because CAP says fueling these young aviators' ambition in flight is priceless. Each cadet is entitled to 5 orientation flights, each one designed to teach a different aspect of flying.
What a great deal for a young man or woman, cadet who can get basically 5 hours of free flying on the Air Force.
To earn a private pilot's license, you need to log about 40 hours of flying time. Most of that will be with an instructor.
These orientation flights are designed just as an orientation. If they want to, when they finish these, if they want to go ahead and start logging time, that's the next step, and that's when you'd go hook up with a certified flight instructor, a senior member, and then you could start logging time and practicing towards your private pilot certificate.
It would cost an average person between $4,000 to $6,000 in plane rentals, instructor fees, and fuel costs just to log the flight time. But for CAP cadets, the cost is much less. In most cases, the cadet can work with a certified flight instructor and pay about $60 per hourly flight, cutting the cost of earning their license in half. That's about $2,500. That includes access to books, pilots, and the airplanes.
Now, what is the difference of pressure?
High pressure.
Yes.
High pressure over here and under the wing and low pressure above.
What makes high pressure under the wing and low pressure on top of the wing?
The curvature.
The curvature of what?
The wing.
Okay.
This is a Saturday ground school class for the cadets. Here they are learning about parts of the plane and checking its safety before taking off.
What 3 instruments are part of what we call the pedostatic system? What?
Airspeed.
Airspeed indicator is one. Altimeter is the other. And what's associated with the altimeter? Vertical speed indicator.
Ron Badinsky and Eric Sachs are 2 other cadet orientation pilots. They say CAP lets them share their flight experiences with those eager to learn.
Cadet flying is one of the best parts about being in Civil Air Patrol. They get a chance to go in this aircraft, and we let them have the controls. We demonstrate what the controls do. We teach them about flying and actually get them up in the air. I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. I think the kids love it. Cool.
Starting with the very first flight, which is just to acquaint them with flying, with what a pilot does in terms of checking out the airplane.
Pilots say the ground school portion of flight training is critical. Understanding the parts of the aircraft is just as important as knowing how to fly it. Civil Air Patrol was founded on December 1st, 1941, just 7 days before the attack on Pearl Harbor.
A date which will live in infamy.
CAP's main mission back then was patrolling the U.S. coast to spot German U-boats. CAP planes are credited with sighting several enemy submarines and in 2 cases sinking them by dropping torpedoes. After the war, it was made the auxiliary of the United States Air Force. Today, the organization has more of a supporting role. Its 3 main missions are emergency services and aerospace education, along with the cadet program.
This organization, Long Island Group, Civil Air Patrol, was an active participant when JFK's plane went down in searching for his aircraft. But we were also very instrumental in taking reconnaissance photos when the Pine Barrens were on fire a few years ago, also with Flight 800.
To the Civil Air Patrol, aviation isn't just fun and games. It's a very serious part of what they do. In fact, this plane right here, the commander says was involved in a very serious mission about 4 years ago.
This aircraft here is the aircraft that took the reconnaissance photos the day after 9/11 of Ground Zero. All those photos you saw in the paper.
Another goal of the Civil Air Patrol is giving back to the community through service projects, which they say also develops a sense of civic responsibility in its young cadet members.
Also, we're involved, for example, in Keep Islip Clean, cleaning up the neighborhood here around group headquarters.
Members also assist in disaster relief efforts, either directly or through fundraising efforts, as it is doing here, raising thousands of dollars for Hurricane Katrina victims.
Way. Swing it to the right. Which right? To the right.
As part of its aerospace education goal for these young pilots in training, CAP assists in aviation events on Long Island. Here they are helping out the Bayport Aerodrome, which restores antique aircraft. In return for their help, the Aerodrome took them up for a ride in their restored biplanes.
We've had one of our cadets just made it to it was appointed to the Air Force Academy, and he had his first airplane ride here as a cadet, and he got hooked, and now he wants to be a fighter pilot.
I got towed. Fire it!
And maybe become a Top Gun himself. But while some cadets do go on to careers in the military, others decide to enter the civilian aviation sector. Former CAP member and now aviation student Frank Savio says he was inspired by flying as a cadet starting when he was 13.
Nobody ever forgets their first flight, and he just lets go of the controls and says, okay, take controls. And I mean, here you are, you're 13, 14 years old and you're flying an airplane.
Savio is now in his senior year of flight school at the University of North Dakota. He says besides flying, the Civil Air Patrol's cadet program also taught him many valuable life lessons that helped him succeed in his goals.
Civil Air Patrol molds your discipline. It sets you up for later on in life, and I think that really helped me assist in getting my pilot's license.
Out. 1, 2! Here on the ground, the cadets learn military drill, customs and courtesies, and teamwork. They take on leadership responsibilities and learn organizational skills. And while this may seem like military discipline to some, they say they enjoy it.
I always enjoyed training the cadets new things and getting them into the program. It's taught me a lot of leadership.
It just teaches you a lot of leadership and self-discipline, and everybody can use some of that.
And it just builds a stronger young man or woman able to cope with life in general, let alone business. If they choose to go into the military, fine, but these are qualities and attributes that you need in the business world, the corporate world.
For Cadet LaPiana, this will be her first flight in the co-pilot seat.
What we generally do is we take 3 cadets up at a time, and we switch around. We'll be up for an hour per cadet. We as the cadet orientation pilots, I take my hands off the wheel, I fold it in my lap so the kids know that they're the ones who are actually making this airplane fly. And that's what makes it all worthwhile, is to see the look on their face.
Cadet LaPiana has taken the controls.
The nice rewarding part about it is when they come down and we've let them have the controls of the airplane, let them fly a little bit. And when they come out of the airplane, they have this big grin from ear to ear across their face, and they love it.
That was great.
It was like flying a plane.
Yeah. It was fun. It was nice, like being in control of it. It was pretty easy, once I got the hang of what moves you up, what goes down,
Kelly says the Civil Air Patrol has taught many youngsters that the sky really is the limit, and it's up to them how high they want to soar.
Whether they go into the military or not, or aviation, the program instills a great sense of pride and accomplishment for the kids.
As for Frank Savio, he says he plans to return to the squadron after graduating flight school and help teach the next generation of young cadets how to fly.
I think it's important for somebody that young to find something they love, and maybe it's flying.
Want to go again?
Yeah, I would definitely go again.
I'm Chris Calora, sitting in for Ken Eckhart with